Good morning, dear students. Let's begin our social science class. Today I am going to teach you chapter number 2 of economics, class 10th, sectors of Indian economy. Now, when we talk about economy, we mean development. We mean economical development, means money related development. So, we are having in this chapter some sectors in which our Indian economy is divided. Basically, there are three sectors, but what is the role of those sectors? What are the examples in our day to day life when we see or we come across these sectors, and how these sectors are contributing into our Indian economy, that we are going to see over here. So we see that whenever we are talking about the economy and whenever we are talking about the sectors of Indian economy, we are having a broad classification of our sectors, which are basically of primary sector, secondary sector and tertiary sector. So these are the three main sectors of Indian economy, and we are going to discuss them today in detail. So the first common question that comes in our mind as well as in the board examinations is that what are these sectors, and we should describe them sectors with the help of examples. So first we see is the primary sector. Now economic activities are classified into groups using some important criterion. These groups are known as sectors of Indian economy. Now, people around us are engaged in different activities to earn livelihood. Some may be producing goods, while others may be delivering services. So, some are the producers and some are the distributors of those products. So, these all are itself divided into sectors. Now, when we talk about the classification of the sectors on the basis of nature of activities, so in this chapter of the sectors of Indian economy, we have three major sectors: primary sector, secondary sector and tertiary sector. So we have to discuss in this chapter these three sectors in detail. When we talk about primary sector, the economic activities which are connected with the extraction and production of natural resources, for example agriculture, fishing, mining, etc., falls under primary sector. So these are the base of the sectors. Now there are many activities that are undertaken by directly using natural resources, and these are some of them. If we talk about cultivation of cotton, so in the crop season, whenever we are growing cotton plant, we depend mainly but not entirely on natural factor like rainfall, sunshine and climate. So the product of this activity, cotton, is a natural product. Similarly, in the case of activity like we talk about dairy, which is a biological process of extraction of milk from the milk giving animals, the product milk is also a natural product. Similarly, minerals and ores that we talk about are also natural products. So when we are producing any goods by exploiting the natural resources present in our environment, these activities are included in primary sector. The basic and the most important is the agriculture, which is a primary sector activity which gives us the economy which earns income to India. The primary sector, that is agriculture, and about 60% of India involved in agriculture, since most of the natural products we get are from agriculture, dairy, fishing, forestry. So this sector, primary sector, is also referred to as agriculture and related sector. Now when we talk about the secondary sector, so the economic activities which are related to the manufacturing processes like manufacturing of steel falls under secondary sector. So whenever we are talking about the secondary sector, the industries, factories should flash in your mind. So secondary sector cover activities in which natural products are changed into other forms through ways of manufacturing that we associate with industrial activity. Now it is the next step after the primary sector or primary activities. The activities that are done in these sectors are named like primary activities done in primary sector, secondary activities done in secondary sector. So it is the next step after primary, and product is also not produced by nature, but whatever products that we have obtained from nature, now these are to be processed, and these processing is referred to as secondary activity done in secondary sector. So it can be done in a factory, workshop or at home also, like whenever we are obtaining cotton fiber from plant, so it is a primary activity, but now spinning of yarn and weaving of cloth from that cotton fiber is under secondary activity. Similarly, sugarcane and growing of it is involved in primary activity, but if we are making sugar, good or jaggery from that sugarcane, that is referred to as secondary activity. Also, if we are talking about obtaining of the earth soil and minerals, then we are talking about primary activity. But converting them into bricks and using bricks to make buildings are included in the secondary activity. So this is industrial sector where manufacturing is the main procedure. When we talk about tertiary sector, so the economic activities that are mostly based on providing services to society like transportation, banking, insurance, etc. falls under tertiary sector. So these all means the one which are not directly involved or dependent by nature, and the one where no manufacturing is done, those activities are in tertiary sector. And basically there is no production or processing of any of the goods, but the distribution, selling and buying of the goods are involved in this tertiary sector. The tertiary sector actually facilitates primary and secondary sector. Now you might ask how. Take for example, we are growing cotton crop or we are growing a wheat crop. The farmer grows a wheat crop. So the tertiary sector is very important here, because the crop that is grown, the surplus that the farmer has, now he will sell this into the market. But where will the market come from? Where will be the transportation available from which the farmer will take his all the crops to sell in market? So these are all in tertiary sector. Similarly, cotton crops that are sent into factories are then further processed, but these processing is of no use until and unless any profit is gained, and these profits are gained from market. So market is again a tertiary sector. So we see that tertiary sector benefits both primary and secondary sector, and in this way we can say that primary sector, secondary sector and tertiary sector are interdependent on each other. The tertiary sector is also of no use if there is no material to be distributed or no material to be sold. So after primary and secondary, third category is the tertiary sectors, and these are activities that help in development of primary sector and secondary sectors, and these themselves do not produce a good but are an aid or a production or support to the process done by primary and secondary. Like goods that are produced in primary or secondary sector would be transported and then sold. So at times it may be necessary to store these in godowns also. So these all are over here in the tertiary sector. Like we talk about communication, we talk about banking, we talk about storage, transport, these all, and trade. These all are involved in tertiary sector. So we can say that tertiary sector is also called a service sector. So service sector includes some essential activities like services that may not directly help in production of goods. For example, we require teacher, doctor, personal service like washerman, barber, cobbler, lawyer, and some administrative and accounting works. So in recent times, certain new services based on information technology like internet cafe, ATM booth, call center, software companies have become important. We cannot live without them. So these are all included under the tertiary sector. So economic activities are grouped into three different categories but are highly interdependent